afternoon, everyone. It is 3 o'clock on the third Wednesday of the month, so that can mean only one thing, and it's first and third at 3. So this is not necessarily a new topic, but it is updated information, and I know we have a lot of new lovely faces on the call, so we'll run through it. And if you have any questions, feel free to unmute or go ahead and type them in the chat box. We will be talking about ListTrac, and that is a product brought to us from the brand. So it is available to our Realogy companies, Sotheby's, International Realty, Century 21, and Coldwell Banker all have access to ListTrac. Now, if you remember prior conversations, we also still have ListHub. And the reason why we had both is because ListHub is also owned by the same company that owns Realtor.com. So Realtor.com was being tracked for their hits and their visits on ListHub, but ListTrac was not getting that data. ListTrac was getting Zillow and Trulia, but not getting Realtor.com. So the good news today is ListTrac finally is reporting Realtor.com stats. So your agents can move over all of their seller communications to ListTrac if they want to. Now we still have ListHub running in the background. We do have it tied to our listings to leads account, which we do believe that ListTrac will be able to do for us in most pockets of the company. So we may eventually be moving away from ListHub completely, but today we still do have both options. But again, ListTrac now does report Realtor.com, Trulia, and Zillow. So it's more of an all-encompassing picture, where before the conversation really was you kind of needed both. So let's jump into ListTrac and we'll show you how to get those seller reports set up. Administratively, for you ASCs and RSCs on the call, you are able to set these up for your agent if your agent's requesting that from you. So we are going to jump into desk. Now, it was sticky to CBC desk, so you don't have to worry about that. My CB desk is where you're going to find ListTrac. You, of course, can scroll down and try to find it in your squares, or you can type in ListTrac up here in the search box. Click the link. It is an outside app, so it does open up a secondary tab. So you can see that desk stays open here and ListTrac launches into here. Let's go back to the one I already had open because it has been opening a little slow today. So administratively, if you have access, and if you don't, feel free to reach out. We just have to tweak some of your settings. You'll in the upper right see all offices. So this will let you know which offices you're seeing the statistics for. So if you have regional access, you'll see your region. If you have access to just one office, you'll see your office up here. In the upper right, your account information, this all feeds from Dash, which we know feeds from our account tax. So if your agents are complaining their headshots wrong or anything like that, we have to do that in transaction plan to feed through to Dash, to Desk, and then to ListTrac. So that's the information in the upper right corner. Over here to the left is menu items, your dashboard, which is what we're seeing. You can get into your specific listings. You can go to your seller report history. And there's an activity log, so you can see which one of your agents are actually utilizing this tool. So on the dashboard, again, your agents will be able to view the stats for their listings, but on the office level, these are the stats for all of the listings in that office, or in my particular case, the entire state of Michigan, since I have access to all of them. So you'll see that it ranks your views, and then anytime you see that down arrow, it's a toggle. So you can look in the last 7 days, you can look in the last 30 days, or you can go to custom and do a date range of your choosing. And right here, number 2, Realtor.com. That was a number there before, it's there now. So we have Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, other broker and agent sites, which would be things like CB Great Lakes, CB Florida Homes, CB Schmidt, Ohio, any of your agent sites. Then we have the brand site. And again, I am in the Coldwell Banker version of this. And then we have homes.com, Lands of America, so on and so forth down the row. So that's actual views of the property. Like a lot of the other products brought to us from the brand, if there's a question mark and you hover over it, it's going to give you exactly what that is tracking. So it tells you views are the total number of times your listings reviewed for that time period selected, which we're seeing 30 days. And a view is only counted when a user views the detailed page of a listing. So if they're on a map result page and they are looking at the listing, unless they click on it to fully open it, the system doesn't know how to track that as a view. So that's what that means there. Then what else is being tracked is the inquiries. So again, question mark, and it lets you know what an inquiry is. It's how often potential buyers are requesting information. So it is those requests for showings, it's requests for more information, it's contact agent, those type of inquiries that are coming from the consumer are what are being tracked here. So you can see in the last 30 days, homes.com was number 1, Coldwell Banker number 2, Zillow number 3, our interior sites number 4. So pretty interesting that the views are so high on Zillow, but really people are contacting us through homes.com and our broker site, Coldwell Banker. This is visitors. And again, this is just a different kind of chart. We had a huge spike here on Zillow. And then it tracks all of the main sites, and you can see they're color coded to those right here. It does rank performance on top listings, the ones that are viewed the most. And then it also gives you the heat map. So again, this is the state of Michigan. No big surprise that most views are coming in and around the Great Lakes. But take a look here, pretty interesting. Oklahoma, for some reason, is being charted as having a lot of views. You can zoom in on this to get a lot more granular. So obviously where I'm sitting is Traverse City. We have a lot of offices in Grand Rapids and Holland, and then interesting enough, Detroit pops. So probably a lot of people that are wanting to move out of the city, maybe move up north. So it gives you that information. And again, as you zoom in, you can see where those things are being tracked as where our visitors are coming from. So you can see there's a green spot right there in Oklahoma City. So pretty interesting. And Sarah, I see your note that you don't have activity logs, so I will take a look at that and get back to you. But if you want to shoot me an email, it'll help remind me later when we're done with training. If any of you, like I said, are not seeing what you think you should be seeing, just shoot me a note. We'll take a look at your settings and make sure that you have what you need for these. Saved listings is just another way that they rank it. Again, we have views. We know they pop up the detail page. We have inquiries. We know it's that they're wanting to contact us or our agents. Saved listings are when you can go to the websites, click the little heart or click save to my list so that you can go back and view them later. So you can see again, homes.com is number 1. Other broker and agent sites is number 2. Along the same lines as saved listings is our shared listings. So Mr. Homebuyer sees a house he wants to show to Mrs. Homebuyer, so he shares that over to her account, and those are the type of things that come up on that chart there. Not only does it track the property, like I mentioned, it also tracks it by agent. So Mark Hagan's one of our top teams here in Traverse City. He's number 1. Andrea Crossman's another top team. She showed up number 2, and so on and so forth. And again, if you want to know what they're ranking it on, you can click on the little question mark and it says agents with listings that are attracting the most views and leads over the last 30 days. And you can toggle here. So this is ranking it on views. If you click over to leads, also known as inquiries, that should populate another view. So you can see in this particular case, agent that ranked number 1 for actual inquiries are different than the agents being viewed. So pretty interesting information that you can share at your office level. Then the most popular by price range can also be done by number of bedrooms and by property type. So our number 1 most popular type of property is the 200 to 300,000 mark, and that's 19.2%. Keep in mind, this is specific to our Michigan listings. If you're sitting in Ohio or in one of the Florida regions, it's probably going to be a little bit different. Number 2 is 100 to 200. Number 3 is 300 to 400, and so on and so forth. 2 to 3 million is 2.5% of views. So that's still pretty high, in my opinion, for that price range. And then when you click over to property type, you can see that by far the number 1 is single family detached. Number 2 is vacant land. Number 3 is multifamily, 2 to 4 units. So pretty interesting information here as well. And again, that toggles by views and then also by leads. So again, single family is by far number 1 for property type. And if you switch to price range, it's going to change that. So you can see 0 to 100 is the most for leads, where 100 to 200 is next. And then the 200 to 300. So pretty interesting information. The other thing that you can do here is your listings. So again, like I said, administratively, you can set this up for your agents, or they can do it on their own accounts by accessing their own ListTrac. And this is where it should show you the well, first the address, the status, the online analytics, if a seller report is set up, what your seller report options are, and a preview of the seller report. All of these three options are available when you click into the listing. So you don't have to worry about coming back to the screen to go back to that. So we will just pick one. Let's see, we'll pick this one. So when you click View Online Analytics, hopefully that will load. You can see your other two options of Schedule Report and Preview Report are right here as well. So this is a $200,000 property. Depending on how long it's been listed, we may or may not have stats come up. We do, which is good. Again, you can see just like it does on the dashboard, this is now for this particular listing only. Zillow.com, Realtor.com, Lands of America, other broker sites. Again, always the opportunity to toggle. You can go to Life of Listing. That would track it from day one, the second that it was, well, not the second it was listed, but in that syndication window, but from the time it got from the MLS over to Account Tech, over to Dash, which feeds things like ListTrac and stuff. And since this didn't change, I'm assuming this just hasn't been listed that long. Same views that you had on your dashboard, you have for each individual listing. So this is pretty interesting. This listing in, I'm not quite sure where it's in. I think it's in or around Traverse City, is being viewed throughout the US in different pockets. So pretty interesting there. And again, if there were no inquiries that were tracked, it's just going to say no data available. So in these categories, there are no specific information about that. And then if you want to see what the report to the consumer will look like, you can click on Preview Report. Give that a moment to load. And this is what the report will look like. So the online analytics report, and you can see this appears to be vacant land. And it gives you the options here. It shows the list age. Okay, so this particular one is out of our UP office. It's not in or around Traverse City. And from here, you can use this to copy to a clipboard. You can download a PDF. So maybe your agent wants to use this for some social media marketing. And then when you go to branding settings, you can change your headshot and stuff from there. So to feed the account up here, again, that feeds over from our Account Tech to Dash, but each individual one can be updated. You can also change the colors. You can also change the logo. So if you are trying to share statistics for a commercial property and you want to use the commercial logo, you can do that there. We're going to back out of there. And then we're going to talk about schedule a report. So obviously, if you're just listing a home or your agent's just listing a home, there's not going to be a whole lot of traffic from day one, right? It takes time to syndicate out, maybe some social media marketing behind it, get to all the websites, and then our views and leads will start tracking. But you can set these up right away. So if you want to send it on behalf of the agent, you fill out, of course, their name, which should automatically come in as the list agent, the consumer's name, so the home buyer, the home seller, the owner of the property. You can always BCC multiple people. You can always BCC somebody, so blind carbon copy if you want to. The reply should go automatically to the agent's email that's notated in Dash. You can CC the agent, which I think, especially if you're setting up for the agent, you actually should. So that way they get a copy at the same time that their client does. And then you can give it a different subject if you want, but it does autofill with this pretty standard stock language. But again, that can be updated. You can include metrics from competing brokers, which is fed over from the MLS, or you can choose not to include metrics from the competing brokers. It's just really based on what the agent wants from this product. A lot of agents don't want to talk about that. They just want this report to show their consumer how many views are coming through our websites and the websites in which we syndicate to. And then you have further options. You can choose to use lead metrics, leave them out. A lot of consumers will say, oh, well, I had 5 leads. Why don't I have anybody coming to see my home? Well, we all know how internet leads are. Most of them are 12 to 18 months out from transacting. Most of them aren't even pre-approved yet, so it takes time. So in a consumer's mind, when they see a lead, they're thinking, oh, I should have had a showing. Well, we know internet leads don't always equate over to an immediate showing just for those reasons. They're typically farther out in the home buying process. And then here's your delivery options. So it's standard is off because you do have to set it up. You can choose to send weekly, send bi-weekly, and send monthly. Bi-weekly is twice a month because it's always that super confusing English language, right? Is that twice a week or is it twice a month? In this particular case, it is twice a month. If it has been a week, 2 weeks, or it's a super popular listing and it already has some views, you can choose to send immediately as well. So if you choose send weekly, a week from this to today, so next Wednesday, this report will go out to the consumer. If you choose send weekly and send immediately, it's going to go out today and it's going to go out next Wednesday and the following Wednesday and so on and so forth until it is either withdrawn from the market, expired, or hopefully, fingers crossed, sold. And then once those changes are made, you click submit. I'm going to click cancel. Don't have the consumer's information here, so we're just going to cancel that out. The other thing I want to point out is right here, but I believe I have a question, so one moment. Good. Okay, Nicole, if you want to shoot me that as a no, I'll take a look at her settings and make sure she has access. And yes, so good point, Becky, because we did reach out to the help desk about that. So Becky in Bel Air was sending the report out and she was choosing immediately, but we realized immediately in Realogy world was actually about 12 hours. So even though you say immediately, it really is within that day. So their claim was that their server sometimes gets busy. They claim they were doing an update. So it could be a little bit of a delay, but it should be the same day prior to like midnight. So it may not be immediately. So thank you for reminding me about that, Becky. And so manage similar homes, refine criteria being used to determine similar listings. Click here. So in this particular case, the seller report will also show, if they choose to, the competing broker's information. If your agent wants to change which kind of comps are being pulled in, this is where they would do so. So selection method, you can use the default settings. You can auto select using your criteria you set forth. You can manually select certain listings, or you can combine both auto and manual, or you just can choose not to include similar listings at all. So if you click auto selection using criteria, further options will pop in. Obviously, most likely you want it to be the same property type. You're not really going to compare a waterfront condo to a single property on land. So you want to make sure the property type's the same, but maybe not. Maybe there's only 5 listings and they're across all different property types or whatever it might be. And then your agents can choose to update these however they see fit so that the system will bring in similar homes. Again, I'm just going to click cancel. So we're going to go back just one step. Again, let's go back just a few more steps. Went to desk, found ListTrac, launched into ListTrac. We talked about the dashboard, and then we went into listings to pull up this particular listing. And you're going to see what the status is. And again, if the seller report is turned on. So I toggled by clicking on the option here. Anything with they're kind of grayed out. Don't know if you can see them, but anything with an arrow will give you the sort opportunity. So you can sort by the listing, the status, or the seller report status. So you can see we do have a bunch of these that are set up on weekly schedules going out to the consumer. And to see what a different one would look like, instead of launching into the listing this time, I simply clicked preview. So you can see that standard verbiage shows up at top. It gives them the stats for this particular period, which will always tell them what that period is, brings in a photo of that house from the MLS, and then gives them their websites and where those are being viewed from in the cities. Always going to be branded to the agent and always going to be branded to the correct DBA. So you can choose again to copy that link. So you can send it in link format, or you can download a PDF. Maybe if your agent is going to speak with the seller, or if they're going up for a listing appointment and they have a similar property, maybe they want to download that PDF and then upload it into Moxie Present so that it's part of their listing presentation. So it can be utilized for both current consumers, but also to help the agents get other listing opportunities. When you click on view more stats for your listing, that does again open up another window. And then it will show the consumer the actual listing dashboard. Again, not the first dashboard with all the office listings, but their particular listing. It shows them that same view that we were able to see when we were inside the listing. So the consumer does have that opportunity to view that as well. This is the email that will show up in their inbox. Again, let's just show one more. Again, that messaging is at top. This is another piece of vacant land, it looks like. So again, here's that realtor.com, which is so important to know now because it is coming through along with Zillow here right in ListTrac. Again, branded to the agent and the correct DBA. I might have to double check the activity log. I thought anybody with administrative rights would have it, but perhaps I'm mistaken on that. So I will get some clarity and let you guys know, but this is where you can track who's been in the system, what they did. They viewed listing metrics, or they accessed the dashboard, or they simply just logged in. So this will let you track activity. There is an export on this. So if your manager has asked you, how's ListTrac going? Any of our agents using it? You can choose to export that list and show it to them as well. Back to the dashboard here. So again, this is tracking realtor.com, Zillow, and Trulia, along with our coldbanker.com, homes.com, some of the other bigger ones, including our own broker sites. So let me check for other questions here. I don't see any. So as we wait for some, keep in mind, ListHub is still there. We do not want to log into ListHub from desk. That is a different ListHub. We have a proprietary Schmidt, if you will, ListHub feed, so that your agents will want to log in directly to ListHub and not use this one here. Just go ahead and get rid of it. They do, however, want to go into ListTrac. We will be migrating to ListTrac now that it does show stats for all of the main sites, where before that was segmented. So that's the difference here. Like I said, offer this service to your agents. Maybe they don't know about it. Be like, I can do that for you. I just need your client's information. Takes 2 seconds. Go in there, put their information, and then it'll be on that auto communication to the consumer. So it's a pretty good offering for the agents. And we'll give it my patented 8-second wait to see if any questions come in. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your time today. I do appreciate it. We will have Blue Sync tomorrow at 9:30. Miss Elizabeth Glass out of Ohio will be hosting us and talking to us about Moxie access options. So thanks for your time today. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow on Blue Sync. Bye now.